here, because what hurt worse was clear over here. There's a nerve in your hand that goes all the way down there, and it slid right down the side of it. It didn't cut. It just went right down the side of it. It said
kind of a shocking pain.
this much off, and I lost part of my hand. Used part of my hand probably.
I think we're good, aren't we?
We're live.
Okay. All right, I call this April 25th meeting of the Riley County Commission to order. Please, everybody join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, are we finally at the end of the month? Gonna get April showers to bring the May flowers or whatever it is? Sounds like it's gonna start today and maybe not let up for a couple of days, which as long as it's just rain, that's fine. I'd prefer not to have the hail and the wind, but
That storm last Wednesday night, Thursday morning. His son's temporarily living at the Links. Him and his wife's cars got hit by hail. I walked into work on Monday and looked at Clancy's Jeep and said, your vehicle got hit by hail because his Jeep did too. And he goes, I didn't notice it until then.
really?
So his vehicle
wow.
got hit by hail last week too.
It
I
was-
was telling him about my sons and your
Well,
vehicle.
speaking of which, we were obviously down in Pittsburgh and I got a Everbridge thing saying severe thunderstorms. So I looked real quick and they said large hail. I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm here and not there. It worked out fine for me. Because that would have been right in the path of that same storm there too, up in the Northview area. So anyway, it is what it is. Hopefully we don't get any of that today, tomorrow, or Saturday. Okay. With that said, I'll open it up to public comment this morning. Anybody got public comment? Got some good news, Evan?
Morning, Evan,
Hey.
Public Works. Asphalt overlay program starting on Monday. That's for Stockdale Road and Blue River Hills Road.
Okay.
Just want to give everyone a heads up.
Sounds good. Thank you. Anybody else with anything?
That's your roads right there.
It is.
Guess you'll be helicoptering in or something the next couple of days.
It's all good. Part of the process.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I don't see anybody else chiming in, so I guess we'll close public comment. We'll move to commissioner comments. Commissioner McKinley.
Okay, Monday noon was the intergovernmental luncheon in K-State. Heard a review of the K-State 105 plans and about facilities and campus master plan. Tuesday morning, I was cleaning up things at K-State Gardens with master gardeners. And then yesterday, and spent all day enjoying the great weather and working in my garden.
Yeah.
Trying to get caught up finally. That's all I got.
Okay. Okay, well, Monday, I too went to the intergovernmental luncheon, listened to the K-State 105, and also the K-State master plan. Yes. Then after that, I went to the groundbreaking ceremony for our new EMS station. That was really exciting.
About that.
Yeah, Greg was there.
I kind of remember that.
Apparently he was there physically, but not mentally.
Then I did spend some time on Tuesday. Oh, I did spend some time on Tuesday putting some repellent stuff on my those bit things on the weeds. What a mess! But so I had to dress all up, put gloves on, all the protective gear, and
You take some selfies?
no. So I did a lot of yard work on Wednesday, and also
So many people out there.
Wednesday after Bell Choir last night, I went to Keats for their monthly community meal, and they have a new pastor up there at the church. So he was there and his wife. I didn't write his name down, so I don't remember. Very nice person. That was the nicest reception I've gotten for a long time.
Yeah, I bet.
That was great. Everybody, a lot of people came up and shook my hand and said how grateful they were, which is super. So it works. And spent some time talking with Daryl Westervelt. He's got a big birthday coming up next week. He's gonna be like 89. So he's done pretty good. So also, let's see, this week I also spoke to several constituents concerning road projects. One of them on Highway 13 about the rubble up there, and I talked to John Ellerman about it. The bike people are not real happy about what's going on. So, make a trip up there, check it out. So,
Never a good time to do those things, but it has to be done.
yeah, I know.
Mhm.
And another one was on the Wildcat Creek Road on how that's progressing, and I hadn't got a chance to get back to John on that. So, I don't know if you know when that. Are we going to pay more?
I am not aware.
When that's going to happen?
I know there's been a lot of conversation on it, but not much on dates.
Okay. Well, I'll get back with John about it. And that's all I've got.
No, I did get calls already saying, I saw that nuisance ordinance. Somebody who's
Really?
been calling with complaints saying, I saw that nuisance ordinance passed. How soon are you gonna get up here and clean things up?
Yeah,
I haven't gotten any of this.
I've gotten 2 calls on that too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know anybody was paying attention, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
It's a good answer.
well, I told him.
I told him, get back with us after July 1st.
And be ready to wait for a district court case. for
Exactly.
You think?
Result. You have to. Part of the statute.
Unfortunately, one person has gone through the legislative process and understands that. The other one didn't. So a little bit of both. So. Yeah, okay. Well, as for me, I think everybody summed up the intergovernmental and the groundbreaking ceremony. I thought groundbreaking ceremony went really, really well, just to throw that in there. K-State updates on everything are what they are. We do have a call on that master plan Zoom call this afternoon on that with whoever their consultant is. I keep forgetting the name. So we'll see how that goes. Tuesday afternoon, I had my monthly community and social responsibilities committee meeting at Florence, discussed and finalized some volunteer opportunity possibilities, kind of narrowed down to Habitat and Humanity and potentially with the emergency shelter. They ended up 1 and 2 on that list as we talked about it. I'm going to put together an application to fill out some funding that we're raising in-house throughout the rest of the year, and I'll put an application together to see where we're going to disperse that and how we're going to disperse that. For using a Conzo United Ways process is maybe a way of being able to do that, because we're going to have more people asking for money. That's what's going to be there. So you got to figure out some way of being able to do that. We're also going to work on doing maybe a school supply and clothing drive somewhere in August there at the beginning of next school year. And going to work on a possible voter registration drive and a voter volunteer drive as well. So I may be getting with you, Rich, on that, the latter of that, how that might work.
Yeah,
If you need help.
extra interesting given the laws nowadays on who can and can't do that.
Yeah.
So
I figured I'd probably have to get with you and Susan on that, and we needed to talk about that a little bit more in depth. Yeah. So
pretty much discourage anyone doing it other than election officials.
okay. Well, may have a conversation with you separately about that, so I'm just giving you a heads up. That pretty much covers that. Got some more good news. Didn't know if anybody caught this, but Governor Kelly and the Water Office announced an $18 million investment to 34 other Kansas municipalities and special districts relating to water on Monday. 2 from Riley County are getting technical assistant grants. The city of Randolph's getting $650,000, and the city of Ogden's getting a little over $404,000 to help address pressing water needs in both of those communities. And WTC has been announced as a finalist for that ADOPT grant that we discussed earlier in the year. I didn't get the final total of how many, but I think it might have been down to 3. Those announcements took place earlier in the week, and they're immediately discussing a plan moving forward of how to receive those grant awards as they put the application in for them. So we'll probably have a Zoom call tomorrow or maybe even early next week to discuss that and I'll bring back that information since we offered up some county dollars to make that happen. So that's about all I've got this morning.
Sorry to deliver your message on printer
Okay.
assistance. Well, he was here. Business commissioners, first item we have, need a motion to approve highway use permit, granting WTC permission to bury fiber optic in random woods according to details and route shown on maps.
Speaking of WTC,
Let's see. I would make a motion to approve the highway use permit granting WTC permission to complete work as outlined in the permit for Random Woods.
I'll second.
been moved and seconded to approve the highway use permit for WTC for Random Woods, outlining the work as permitted. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
It's gonna be interesting.
It's working?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Test it out, John. He says it's working.
Okay. We're staying offline on this. There's something new we need to do to that.
Can you test it from where you're at now?
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Front one right here.
Well, we got the man here.
It's.
Okay, that's good. Here we go. Oh, I tried to print two different things, two different ways, and it keeps telling me it's offline.
Yes, sir. There was a problem this morning. We resolved.
Okay, let me see here. Let me go back to my list.
I'm gonna hit a print right now.
Mm-hmm.
The permission to.
Rain fails.
Keeps saying, no, see, it keeps telling me.
Printing
offline.
failed. Please check the printer and try again.
Yeah. I tried to do a quick print and then I tried to come back and just do regular open up and then print and it keeps telling me offline.
This doesn't say why, it just says failed.
Yeah.
Of course, you realize when we get it running, it's gonna go. There's gonna be half a ream of paper printing
I'm
now.
gonna say somebody had to be there to reload the paper.
I know he got it working off of this computer here on Monday, but I guessing maybe you guys have to come back through and change all the preferences on each one of our stations, I guess.
Should.
You can continue if you want, Rich.
Next item, we need a motion to approve change order number one, Reese Construction Inc. in the amount of $2,784.34 for Fancy Creek Road Bridge Replacement Project.
Move to approve the change order in the amount of $2,784.34.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the change order for whatever that was, 2,000 some change. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
I lost a lot of blood yesterday, so I can
What happened?
You're good.
There's a story.
Shot himself.
Shot himself.
Yeah, that's one good way, but.
I don't care.
I'll just do it real quick.
I heard it printing something.
I didn't hear it printed. That's gonna be weird to get used to.
Next, I need a motion to approve invoice for Kansas Secretary of State for presidential preference primary, March 19th, 2024, in the amount of $59,606.84.
Okay, so I want you to say that total one more time, Rich.
$59,606.84.
That's what we spent on that presidential preference primary.
That's part of what we spent, the part that they'll reimburse us for.
Not all the costs.
That's the point that I wanted to make.
Yeah.
What don't they reimburse us for?
Oh, like all the exempt employees that work extra hours and all the other little things that they say, we would be doing anyway. So it's only direct. I can hear it faintly.
Well,
It's not quieter.
you made the motion already, right? Or not?
No,
No, I move to approve the invoice to the Kansas Secretary of State for the presidential preference primary.
I would second that.
Moved and seconded to approve the invoice to the Kansas Secretary of State's office for the presidential preference primary. All in favor?
Aye.
all three sign, please.
Is that going to be, Are they gonna give us a total for the whole state at some point? So people
They should,
know?
I would think. They estimated, I know 5 million originally, but I would think
It's crazy.
eventually.
We had what percent turnout?
We can't pass a tax bill on top of it.
What was it, 8% turnout or something like that? That's crazy. That's just such a waste. Sorry.
Don't disagree.
I mean, just the payment of election workers alone
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make it valid in my opinion. Not to say that their work and efforts aren't worth it, but just no need to do it.
Okay, what's that?
No, I don't print from here anyway. Thank you.
So that was just, you just needed to change to.
Well, yeah. If there's some magic. Of course.
You try to see what somebody.
Next, commission need a motion to approve mobile device reimbursement request.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve the mobile device reimbursement request.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve the mobile device reimbursement request. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
Where do you go and shake it up? I still need a connection. Oh, the power lines. Yes, whatever. No, big deal. I was in charge of it. So I don't need it.
Yeah, like it's a power point. I replace it and.
Thank you.
Next, commission need a motion to approve the tax roll corrections.
Move to approve the taxable corrections.
I would second, but I would like to have a little explanation on that from the appraiser
Sure.
in discussions.
The three taxable corrections for 3 years at Home Depot. This was heard at BOCC. And BOCC, we consider this a win compared to the $4 million
What they were asking.
in 2018. So in 2018, the value was, and that was prior to the Walmart decision with Creep, overturning Creep. And so in the BOCC decision, they did reference that. And our fee appraisal that was done was given the significant weight, and they went with Keller's income approach. And so this is a huge win. I mean, we could have been, if we would have been where we were at in 18, with the 18 value, almost 4 times this plus interest. Go ahead.
If I can just clarify, this is a dark store case, right?
This is a dark store case.
Just want to make that clear.
So this is a huge win. To go from the 7,200,000 to 6,770,000 instead of 4 million, which is where we're still waiting for the 2018 to be potentially remanded back to BOCC. I believe we're still waiting for a court decision on that one. Yeah, so we're still waiting to hear what happens with that. But as far as for this case, this was a huge win. Could they still take us on to the next level? Sure. But we wanted to, since we've got the BOCC decision to get this done, we are moving forward with issuing that refund because it's one of our fee appraiser, our expert witness testified and the heaviest weight is given to him. So,
Good.
yeah,
Keller. Looks favorable then going forward on some of the others, so you got stacked up.
well, agree, 100%.
Hoping that anyway.
That's what we're hoping. We're definitely hoping for that. So,
Good. That's good news.
yes, it's great news. We are very happy with the outcome. So
Thanks for all the.
Steve did a really good job and our attorney did great too. So
Good.
thank you.
Thank you.
On top of that bill, it's another $2,500 in interest too we get to pay. So just so you know, that's not the full story.
Yeah, of course.
Do you have a second?
It's been moved. to
Yeah,
second.
go ahead and, it's been motioned, to approve the tax roll corrections, as listed.
In favor?
I,
Chair, please sign. Just.
oh, Chair.
Yep.
Just so excited.
So excited. You got a win.
Okay, I'll sign that any day.
Our loss was a win. Yay.
Want to clarify one thing to the board too. Anna accurately said the attorney did a great job. That wasn't our office. That was outside counsel.
Yeah.
Who specializes in board of tax appeals, but it's an indication of the value of that kind of expertise. And there's a reason why Mike Montoya represents a number of counties before the board of tax appeals. And has for quite some time.
And he does a great job, but you see this dollar value, you see the interest value, and then you see the reason we gotta pay high cost outside attorneys' fees to just get the so-called win.
Right.
You know, so that's an additional cost. So,
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely.
so yeah, nothing against Mr. Montoya. He's
No, I
he's worth
understand.
everybody gets, but that's what the legislature in this environment's costs the taxpayers more money.
Thing goes back to the uneven playing field. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, the
Mhm.
counties face
Mhm.
every
Sure.
time they go in front of the board of tax appeals by statute. Not from inclination of the board members.
Next, commissioners, I have Raleigh County Personnel Action Forms. Casey Goff, new hire, as need volunteer firefighter stipend. And then Brandy McDonald, new hire, as need election worker. All three signed, please.
Is that any relation to the golfs up in Keats?
I would imagine it is. I would imagine it is. They're Keats area and they're kind of over in the Riley area too. Uh-huh.
We had a lot of children, grandchildren.
Jim Goff worked for KPNL. Oh, he's not related to those.
The ones in.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that common of a name.
It's kind of strange.
Yeah.
Last night, I think that was-
Oh, uh-huh.
yeah, she was at the meeting.
Any changes in the minutes, commissioners?
I didn't
see anything.
I didn't see anything. Okay, let's see. This is my turn. I would make a motion to approve the minutes from April 22nd as presented.
Second.
They moved and seconded to approve the minutes as written from the April 22nd meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Tentative agendas, look, commissioners.
On Monday's meeting, this will get proofed again, but just make sure Director Pete's name's spelled right.
Oh.
Pete's. And I'm taking it that's all we have for Monday.
Well, we've added Clancy in there.
Well, Fancy's always on.
Besides that, Bob Pence.
Don't make it sound like they look forward to it so.
Well, you know, if you wanted to have extra long executive sessions, that might be the night to do it.
Remember the board.
It's just PEETE, correct?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anything else, commissioners? Any items for next week's press conference? Go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, do we have dates lined out? Or not dates, times lined out for the budget hearings?
Yes.
I know she's almost got all of them.
Yeah, I have all of them, and I sent all of them to Cindy yesterday, and we had most of them not going past like 3 o'clock.
Yeah, okay. I may need to get those just in case, because I know I've got a couple of things mixed in between there on those dates. I saw the calendar and then I'm starting to do May's calendar already and I need to look at it and see if I need to reschedule or how I'm gonna work on that.
I can send you a copy. Of it.
Okay, appreciate it.
Just send that to all of them, Brittany.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, because they schedule things in the afternoons a lot of times.
I guess I kind of, this year's normal year, but last year it was all in June, so it kind of caught up to me fast, so.
Any items for next week's press conference, commissioners?
Yeah.
Next you have Mr. Wilkerson at 9 o'clock.
That's something just make sure.
Now I'm trying to get this whole long laundry list of things printed here. Yeah.
I've got to go back through and see which ones I wanted to print, didn't print. And make a list.
I may have had one or two things wrong there already. I didn't want to send all this stuff over to him. Okay. Yeah. Fine.
He's a pretty good fellow. Pretty stranger. It's like water too. You can really hear.
I never realized how important that thing is until it was gone.
Oh, yeah. Put that off, but Monday I had something I needed to print.
I print quite a bit of stuff and it's pretty important when I do.
Morning, Barry. Morning. Not bad. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Barry.
What you doing? Good. Oh, I know, Wednesday at Conference Center for your guys' conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
8 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay.
Little
5 minutes or so? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. However long you're comfortable.
Well, you know me, I could go on all day on some things if I needed to, but I'll spare you guys.
People start falling asleep. Might have gone a little too long.
Yeah.
At least you're the first one, not the end one.
Yeah.
I can't catch like that last
Yeah.
one was having trouble keeping people in the room.
No, I think everybody was trying to hit the road. The weather was coming through and I think the whole AI concept isn't one that a large portion of our group gets or wants to get just yet either. So
It was interesting, that lady that talked about it.
Yeah.
That, I can put her name.
Tina Lynn, she's from the Health Institute. She
Is the one that did the KC?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
No, the lady who was at our table was talking about, is it, she said, yeah, I told them. She said, last year you said AI was coming, so that means I'm going. But she said, but you start talking about it. She said, so I pulled it up on her phone and she was sitting there telling us about it while we were having this, because they had a small group discussion. I pulled it up on my phone and I said, okay, answer this question. She says, it gave some good answers and then said, we're hiring a new HR. Says, give me a job description for an HR person in a county government. She said, I read through it. It's exactly what we're looking for. You know, she was talking about, she said, okay, I'm convinced it does things. It can be useful.
I can see where it'd be good to get like a template that you then work
Right.
from. I think the temptation will be for some
Yeah,
to have it do the work.
right.
That's why schools are having problems with it, because
Yes.
that's what kids are doing. My wife's catching kids doing it all the time. Oh, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
out, and then, but that's not the way that kid talks. That's not, they don't.
Mhm.
It's a huge problem in colleges.
Sure. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about AI because I remember all the, they've already were screening papers and stuff for that reason with some kind of software program or something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know what they call it. But I could see where this would be even worse, more of a problem.
But like I say, like I said, job descriptions, I'm sure wouldn't want to take it completely, but it's a good
You ready, Barry?
format to get
Yeah,
started
go
on.
So I think just as a starting,
Yeah.
I could see it'd be real.
You can go ahead.
We don't have a whole lot, and I know it's never exciting when I come over here, but that's
How do you know that?
We're always excited to see you.
You hope.
Courts and
exactly. We try to keep it from being that.
state systems that get hacked. That's all exciting stuff, Barry.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's, ours hasn't been, so we'll try to
Yes.
keep it that way, but,
Agreed.
no, things are going well. The new attorney we hired, Christina Trocek, is everything that expected. And of course, with her experience, not surprised in the least, but really picking up cases right now. Dave Loudon is earning every cent plus of what he's making, as is Bethany Fields. She's had a lot of trials, and Dave's had a lot of appeals that he's really working through. And in fact, I think one night he spent the night in the office, went home, showered, and came back to work. That's how many hours he had to work. But anyway, as I said, he's always going to just keep working and going forward. But starting to see some daylight. I think things are, for the most part, going fairly well. We had a trial last week that the results not what we were hoping for, anticipating, and we'll have to try the case again. Resulted in a hung jury. So those are always, after 5 days, is not what you want, but better than an outright acquittal. So otherwise, things are just going as, for the most part, as we expect, and no real surprises this year. We will get our budget turned in by Monday. I think that's the deadline. So we will have that turned in and do everything we can. As I go through the budget, I do look at each line item and try to look at the expenses from the year before, the last couple of years, and then what we anticipate the coming year. It's kind of hard. We don't know exactly what cases are going to go to trial. I mean, we can anticipate as best we can how many people are going to commit crimes, things of that nature, but we do try to look at trends and try to look at each budget item, and we will do that when we submit our budget. But again, certainly appreciate the support I've gotten from the commission. It's we clearly couldn't do what we're able to do without the support, and just want to again say thank you, and hope you never get tired of hearing it. But really, you've given us the resources, I think, to try to make this community safer. Certainly, that's appreciated. So,
Are you catching up at any? I know you've been trying to. Is in there? When is the quick trial time?
yeah, the speedy trial time that went away on March 1st.
It's coming this spring. I didn't know.
It is. I don't think there are very many cases from 2020.
Oh.
Of course, delays in 2020, 2021 caused delays in 2022 and 2023. But I think we're starting to work through a lot of that, and it's taken a little bit longer than we'd hoped, but we were hoping we'd be done with it in, January 2023. But we're getting there, and I think that it's just a system that's always reacting and it's always behind. But I think we've come through all that for the most part. Very little residual effects. But there are some. But,
Yeah. Right.
so anyway, certainly appreciate it. And I'm not far away. If you ever need anything, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry. Have a good weekend. Next commission, you have Clancy home at 9:15. How's John?
Super.
Can I chat with you for a couple minutes?
That's about to change.
Can I answer that in a few minutes?
Yeah.
And John beat me to it, I was gonna say.
But like I said, that one guy that sent me a note about, you got your bill passed. I hope you're gonna, and he sent me a picture of the mess.
Where is that?
In what's called Bridgeview, or what are the places up by Randolph?
Great Via Heights area. Mhm. So there's one up there too, huh?
Yeah,
You're probably all over the county.
Yeah. and, but I told him when I talked to him a couple times, I said, we're trying now, but I said, we're hoping to get something passed that'll help give us more teeth to take care of these. So he said one, and he copied me, and Shelley, and Darren,
Yeah,
because they talked to me about it. After he called me, I talked when they'd been talking to him about it, trying to get, because some of the junk was in the right of way, the abandoned trucks.
couldn't that be taken care of without going?
Well, they're trying, there's still certain steps that had to go through to do that even.
I'm glad we got that. People think that, so, that's it, it's time to work. Have to get everything cleared out.
Tell you that one on Purcell Road that I mentioned the other day gets worse by the day. It was worse this morning again.
Oh, was it? I didn't notice it. I left about 5 minutes early in the day. And I was caught in the middle, that's like when I leave break time, I'm just behind everybody. I caught in the middle. I mean, it was stacked up.
I was right after the rush, and I just said, "Where's everybody?"
Oh, there was a wreck. Oh, no.
I ran after the rush.
Oh, the rush got you.
The rush
Well,
comes
usually I
right.
am, I'm right behind them, because I don't have to be here at 8. I can be here to the left, but I got ready and took off and.
Yeah, I was a little late this morning, and I stopped. One of the neighbor kids was going behind me as I was pulling out, so I stopped and told him, "Have a good day." He just looked kind of downcast.
Yeah, I hate it when I leave late. I usually get here in between 7:15, and it's not too bad, but you'd be amazed even at how many people on the road then come in that direction at times. Sometimes it's pretty bare, but others I'm like, why are people going sort of?
It's kind of, I always come around Fort Riley Boulevard, because Anderson's just a mess. I've been doing that a while back, but there's it's funny how it goes in phases. You believe at a certain time, it's just really clogged up. And then like this morning, I was a little later and it just went right through. This is great.
Well, that's what which stopped. It was the Marlat one. It was the longest tunnel.
Mhm.
But that was the longest I've ever been backed up. I mean, we were backed up, both lanes all the way back. In fact, I didn't even make it through the line. I didn't make it through the light.
Goodness.
But both of them, that left turn coming the other direction from Marlat is stacked up now because Kimball's blocked. So they're all coming up to Marlat, and they've adjusted the stoplight for that. They're giving, and there's still always a long line of people waiting to turn that
And
way.
if you mess up, you got to go all the way around. Kimberly's, there's no shortcut.
I had to go, when I was going to the gardens, I couldn't remember for sure which directions were open in that intersection. So I just came down through town and back,
Yeah.
how could I? I'm not sure what's open up there.
I sure hope they get to Anderson pretty soon. That road is such a mess. Just, they were saying they were going to do from Reef to the highway, but it's past on either side. That curve that you come around.
Oh, yeah, that place coming from come from Lee School down to
Yeah,
West.
oh, that's
There's
terrible.
some,
That'll knock you off the road.
well, I think he was saying from Seth Childs to Reed, but I assume then the next block after, because the block
Oh,
after
both
Reed is
Both sides.
just as bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like you have to slow down to like 10
It's
mile an hour.
The joint, whenever the joints evidently went bad and they went and patched them. And it's rougher than.
It's rougher.
I mean, this was years ago that they patched them, but the patches weren't set right. And especially last winter when it got real cold, they heaved. So they were almost like speed
Yeah, it's
bumps.
like,
See, there was a lot of that I've never seen happen before after this cold spell this year. Because I had a sidewalk that's been in place forever, and it wasn't hit, ran over, and it heaved like crazy. And that sidewalk hadn't ever moved an inch before, and it heaved enough that it broke and chipped, and I just had it replaced. It's like, and it was perfectly fine before.
Yeah.
And, you know, that cold spell that came through, it did something special in certain areas.
Yeah.
yeah, that was really bad.
There was no beating Mother Nature.
Well, you know, those separations, and I'm not sure how they lay all that, but you know, every separation in town was bad, it seems. I don't know who they used to.
Yeah.
I don't know
That's the
how.
weak spot. You get moisture in there and
Just that wouldn't make sense.
warm and cold and warm and
Both
cold
sides
and
there and just add it all at the same time.
get the right conditions and it just does its own thing.
Kind of stuff.
So would you get planted?
Peas.
Well, if you have.
So I've got everything planted that needs to be planted by
I
now.
got my peas and green beans last weekend. I wanted to get cilantro in yesterday, but I didn't. I'm
I
hoping.
did, well, what I, otherwise I was cleaning up a bunch of.
Yeah, that kind of tends to get me in
Areas where I'm
trouble.
good at planting, but getting them all. so I've
Thanks
got
for
everything-
offering.
No, no, I've got one little patch on strawberry bed.
The idea
Farmer
is to
got-
make it sound convincing.
Farmer got
I can do that on occasion.
one area of our cropland planted in corn, so that's planted now, so. The other area closest to the house gets planted in soybeans, so.
And I'm rehabbing one of my strawberry beds, got it half of it, cleaned it all out and added compost in it. Getting a lot of blooms already.
Yeah, I've seen some plants. I'm amazed around town how big they are because of the warm weather that we had, you know.
I even started.
Yeah, I know. I saw tulips really early too in some places. The right side of the house and yeah, in town where they're sheltered more. That's why it's always at a minimum 5 degrees warmer in town, if not 10 than out at our place. So always.
Office calendar back, that's okay. I'm trying to plug people in. It would be the afternoon between 1:30 and 2:30. Yeah.
So I thought we agreed not to take him there.
We gotta show them the truth.
I'll be the reason he comes here.
He's already said, oh, I gotta train him.
Gotta train a new one.
They were just.
1:30. Come on.
Yeah. I heard just send this morning on the weather guy, he was saying it's about rain today, he says we might have some relief from the rain later today. I'm like,
We can also do it later.
no, I don't want relief.
I want it to rain like pretty good for a couple of days.
Late.
Man, you think the weatherman would be for that? It's job security.
Oh, at this point, I take a salt.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Lakes in horrible shape, ponds are in horrible shape, creeks are in bad shape.
It's just a construction. Yeah, I don't think either. Did you look at this from when you were going? Didn't get you.
Oh, I didn't know. I saw her email.
It's just asking for, we need to give them.
Yeah, did you? You know, okay.
You're okay with it now.
I'll be fine. That'd be fun.
Because they got my name
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
for the
Actually, yeah, that's how we did the other one.
When I did that start.
Okay. Works for me. I'll just shoot him an email telling us what you're gonna do.
It's your time.
I know, I got nothing.
Okay.
Nothing that means it.
Coleman says got nothing.
I got nothing.
Yeah, you can put that in the notes.
It happens.
For all outlets of media, listen, put that on your front page. Clancy Holman has nothing
There you go.
in quotations.
It's not gonna be a shock to anybody.
I got it.
So I got another 10 minutes, huh?
I'll bet you have something you could do.
No,
I've got
20
stuff to
minutes.
print. That's what I'd like to do. Of course, we could talk about the fact that we do
Oh,
have
it is 20 minutes.
162 finalized and done.
Sure.
So,
Well, we can do that if you want.
Okay,
Sounds like we do.
okay. At least everybody knows where it stands anyway, because people are asking about it.
Well, that's a good point. All right, Commissioners, Clancy Holman, and Counselor, due to the acclamation from the board, we discussed Senate Bill 160, former Senate Bill 162, which became morphed into Senate Bill 384, going from memory. The governor did sign it. That is the part that matters to us, is that portion that used to be Senate Bill 162, the Riley County and Crawford County unincorporated area nuisance abatement act. And what it does is it gives county government, our county government, and Crawford County. This does not go statewide. It's in effect special legislation. And it does have a sunset period. It will be in effect beginning July 1 until 3 years later. So July 1, 2027, it expires unless it's either extended by the legislature at that time, or if they decided to do as they did with Sedgwick County, would be another option, which is remove the sunset and leave it in place. Permanently, in the sense that any state legislation is permanent, because it can always be repealed. But that's the generalized legal status of that act. And as you're familiar with, the way it works has a very detailed process that has to be followed. And I think this was the third year it was in front of the legislature. I think it was our third attempt. It was at least the second.
Well, you had original one and it just kind of went kaput, and then we revised one, and
Yeah.
that went through the 2-year process.
Yeah. Yeah, so at least it's third year.
Because I think if I remember right, when we were down in Liberal for KCCA, it was the first time I'd heard about it. That was the summer of 21.
Okay.
And you introduced something in that next legislative session, and it didn't take off at all due to that urbanization thing. And so we rewrote the entire thing and redid it, and then it entered in 23, and then sat there after that committee hearing, and then went through the process this year. So yeah, you're probably.
Well, I'm glad
For all
you
intents and
remember those
purposes.
details. I probably blacked it out once.
It's been at least 3 years.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of interested in finding out when it was first introduced, just to be sure, but
Yeah,
you want that. You'll want to know that. But the key is that there is a very detailed process. It's very protective of property rights, as we knew it needed to be. And we had no issue with those amendments that were done by some of the advocacy groups for property rights, placing them within it. It's not designed to affect agricultural property, agricultural operation property at all. That is excluded from the coverage of this. And again, it has a definition of what those properties are. It is not simply that there is a residence in the unincorporated area. That to operation either Crawford County or here. They just haven't been. That's why we had no objection to those amendments. Because it doesn't prevent anything that the county was interested in pursuing. Because all true agricultural property is exempt from zoning. And that's been state law for some time. We had no interest in changing that, and this does not change that, no matter what anyone believes. It does not. And let me emphasize, it does not affect agricultural property. Can't be used for that. Statute specifically says that. Says it multiple times as a result of the amendments. So there's no legitimate basis for being confused about that. But anyway, the process itself does require initially a district court action, which is fine. And that's what we normally would do. And that's what we have done in the past. We've had to go to district court through injunctive action to get an order from the district court judge that there is a nuisance on a property. And that's what this requires. So it's nothing different. There is some delay involved in getting that. So I don't want anyone to believe this is an automatic fix, even for long-standing problems. Because problem properties, and there aren't that many. They're not difficult to identify. But the hope is very much like what Sedgwick County experienced. Having this available and being able to tell someone who has a property that there's been some level of non-cooperation in trying to get a nuisance resolved, can honestly tell them, well, it's really in your interest to go ahead and cooperate because we're not being unreasonable. We're only asking you to bring this property to remove this nuisance and to take some steps to do it. Give a reasonable amount of time to do it. That's been our history. That's what we do as an organization. But you don't have limitless time to do so. You do have to make real progress. And if you don't, then what happens is that finding by the district court comes back to this board. And nothing can be done, even after the district court finding that there's a nuisance. That does not give us the authority to do anything other than bring it to you for your finding that there needs to be something done with the property and that the county needs to do it itself if it's not resolved in a given period of time. And that time is set by the board. So you will control what happens. This board and future boards will have the ability to control that and to be reasonable and to hear appeals from the landowner if they believe that it's something not reasonable. There's an opportunity, full due process. They come in front of the board to make those statements. So there's a number of checks and balances in this thing. I can see why they were convinced originally, the legislature, to pass it for Sedgwick County. That's why we modeled it, copied it for the first on their bill because one had gotten through, and it was pretty apparent why. So that's where it stands. So it will be effective July 1st. That will not be an automatic fix. There will need to be, if there's not cooperation on some of those properties, the very few that we end up dealing with, and it's a small fraction of those properties in the unincorporated area where we don't get cooperation. Then we'll have this in the toolbox. It'll be to the benefit of everybody in the county. So
If it needs, it has to go through the court. If it's already been through the court system, does it have to go back?
well, caution suggests that we better start from the beginning.
Okay.
Because if you don't, you're building in an argument, just exactly that. And we don't want to spend more time on appeal to come back again. So, and it's not, I don't want to make it sound like those things take forever.
Right, but
Because it can be done, and it can be done rather quickly in legal time in terms of when we get on the docket, get a decision, or get a hearing date from the judge, and then have a trial and then get a decision, and it'll be processed. Our district court system, quite frankly, historically has been one of the busiest in the state. They just are for counties, certainly for counties of our size. They did a blue ribbon study of that a number of years ago. So there was nobody even close to the number of cases that get processed over there in our courthouse. And that plays into it. So not an immediate fix, but plenty of time before the sunset to get, in my view, to get any of the current
get through the
short list to be done one way or the other. So hopefully by people deciding they want to cooperate. Those individuals. So that would be the smart way to go. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, commissioners, you have Amanda Webb at 9:35. Your mic wave, Rick? Sure.
you bring it.
Yeah. They may or may not want.
There's politics low. Not need to walk away. Yeah.
So,
I'm still here. I didn't leave you.
okay, good. I'm just gonna ask you a couple of things. This email from Nancy. She's quoting state policy on that, and then it's on with. She says that it's a policy. But
Yeah, I don't know where
visualize-
that's at, unless it's new policy or procedure made.
But no, starts on that.
One of the things he said was before the project started. They usually go through and check boxes of. If this is present and by years. I know it's like that. With the check.
That wasn't.
Apparently at the time when they started, that we. Somebody who didn't think or didn't see or didn't realize that wasn't right. Okay, so that's part of what they did, why they make the decision, and they did it, we made it. They didn't see that, realize that. Just got mixed.
Yes, well, I haven't gotten back to her yet, you know, and
Yeah, I think they got. They got it from her too.
probably she bites all the time.
Yeah, so I asked him about it, and I got some complaint, just one.
Mhm.
About that project. Yes. I think I already got it. We've had quite a few acres. Calls and complaints about it.
Well, it's a hope they're gonna keep.
I just happened to be there with him, or he was there with me yesterday, so I asked him.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll get back to her and say this, no, and I told her it was a project of KDOT.
Yeah, it's Wamego area office would be the first place, if you don't already know that. Leroy Kings, just that's who I talked to. Go ahead.
I won't remember the other thing.
That's fast. Leroy King is his own. You get impressed. I think so. Oh, you're. Now, here's the second page.
Oh, okay.
He's a district engineer. Thank you. And then that Matt McCray.
Commissioner, on the show night, Commissioner Warren was here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Good
list.
meeting for one to that basic.
Yeah. Always.
Then,
Yeah.
yeah, then I did
All right. MACA. PRA, at least that gets you close to the pronunciation.
I'll get back to her today, and then the other call I got was from Chris Dad.
One.
He was saying that, he was questioning, yeah, because we were gonna pay a portion of that.
Boys on. It shows the device as a developer. Oh, no, that'd be the same. See, they're supposed to be the biggest day. So, that was seen. Between Bobcat, here, Anderson. Oh, weather side of
Oh,
South.
okay.
Still, there was, that was supposed to be the development. They do it better. I didn't realize that the weather. Over the intersection.
Mhm.
And then between the county city. With the cost. I've not heard for quite a while about that. So it's complete right there. They do this about.
That's the commercial. Well, they can't sell it, so I don't. They're trying to sell it. I go find it. But, yeah, you just keep sending so much gravel in for my road this morning.
No, keeping this. We've not started the new design. Thing. Kind of say this. It's just. We put these on. He pays, but I want you to do that. Yeah. Getting every time. Look at it. Read to be a certain.
Well, you know, with all the furniture. Winery things.
This morning, we got some last night. Yes. When we do. I didn't think. That's. A lot of the tastes of what the papers and straight. Yeah.
Mhm. I was- Well, I'm just kidding, it's about that.
Well, it was a project.
Much.
That was. First. When I looked at it.
Anything you can say about the new person?
I have confidence that you were
Yeah,
about,
they did.
since he was in high school, and he's practiced for like 16 years. Know his family.
From the area?
From down Wichita.
Oh.
Since you're getting a lot of it, a lot of people from Wichita. Our goal is there to eventually. The secret.
Works for me.
Secret. Nothing transparent about it. But, yeah, I used to watch him and his identical twin brother play football in Kansas City. So
If they can't go the other way.
his parents, my wife and I, meet up there at the stadium. Watch like.
Yeah, right.
And she worked with me, his mother worked with me down in Central County for a number of years.
No, I've done that. I've taken the wrong turn out of here before.
He kind of said.
The way around.
I mean, I saw that.
So covers the fish.
Yeah.
That's what his dad was famous for. Yeah, he has his names out there because he did a lot of work. I think the Creole Wall, some of down Wichita stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Economic development
Yeah.
type issues, that kind of stuff.
He worked on that originally, Century Two Park down
Probably.
back in the mid-80s there.
It would have been his kind of deal.
Yeah.
That's why it's up to 20 years. It wouldn't be unusual for me to say that.
And don't ask me why I remember that, if I couldn't tell you.
Well, that's how you went after a real pursuit.
Yeah, I guess
You don't know why you know it.
Yeah, I'm full of useless information like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I can remember in detail anything I can do. But
Yes. Okay, well, thank you. You're Amanda.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I know.
Leave yourself open. Like for live stream nowadays.
That's just wrong.
Speaking of stuff I can remember, I remember originally discussing that back in 18.
We got
I didn't say it was good either, I just said I remember.
This subject my entire career. And that's no joke.
Goodness sakes.
Dan Harden always said, it was the public works director when I first got here, he always said, it was the one community that had its own self-recycling water system. Which is not good when you're in that business.
Guess I'm pouring the rest of that tea out. Thank you. With that, I don't know how you're gonna top that, John, but I can sure try.
Well, John Ellerman taking the place of Amanda today. With her presentation or ask for an increase or an additional funding for engineering for the Keats sewer project. I could So I guess the original contract in 19 or 20 was for $8,500. A couple increases or amendments to that agreement of 7,500, 10,000. Bringing this up to a total expenditure of 23,817 on engineering. That included preliminary engineering report and its update, engineering opinion of probable costs and an update. We've asked them to do some additional engineering and looking at prices and alternatives in the meantime, and they've attended at least all the public meetings that were held since I've been here. There's been 3 at least. So, and then they've been in and speak to you in your commission meeting. So those costs all add up, and I'm probably sure that Sam hadn't billed us for a lot of those times that he and some of the work he put in until it got to a point where he couldn't justify that. So that doesn't, what we spent on the project so far since I've been here and seeing what's done, that's not enough. Not a line cost, I think.
Yeah.
So in order to investigate the lagoon, I guess the history of the lagoon, we did some core drilling, looking at the soils involved there. Good news is the soil is good for lagoon lining, has just the right amount of good percolation and all that stuff that you need. The bad of it is the groundwater table is higher than we needed it to be. We needed a 10-foot separation, and I think the most we have is 8.5 feet.
Yeah, and I talked to Brian about that, and he said it was a shock to them because the creek is actually lower than that. So
Yes.
and the city's wells that were there are much lower than that. So it's
It's
really
probably
weird.
much higher than that overall, if you consider how dry it's been over the last couple of
Well,
years.
when I saw the report, that was my concern, is if we can get. We were looking at putting in another well to sit for a week to give you a better idea of where the groundwater is. However, in the report, seasonal groundwater levels may change. And when KDHE sees that, that's what they're gonna go off of, not what we actually have. So we didn't do that because of the report's gonna say what we need, what KDHE is gonna dictate us to do, which is pad the ground and bring the bottom of the lagoon up to 10 feet above the groundwater table.
Right.
And that's where we're at. So the extra 10,000 that we're asking for is to help let Brian do some engineering and calculations to how much fill, how much dirt, what do we do with liners if we want to put a liner in, or if we want to try fill and compare cost and effort that this all will take to do.
And he was also talking about some irrigation
Yeah,
possibilities.
there's an option of,
It's like 2 or 3 options there.
part of that is we put the liner in, liner will not seep at all. And so there would be a need to discharge that water, which would be through an irrigation. KDH rules allows irrigation on crops, as long as they're not directly used for human consumption. So most of the corn and wheat and stuff that we grow around here gets processed or goes to the feedlot first, and is not that. So that could be done. That's also negotiations with the neighbor again. There's some places where you can use gray water to irrigate parks, golf courses, that type of thing too.
I mean, I have to play golf or play over in the parks over there then in the future.
Well, they have to chlorinate it before
Yeah,
they do it.
there's
Unusable. You know.
part of that system.
Thanks for
the
clarifying.
expense would be chlorinating. If it goes to the public ground
Not
like
making
that,
it sound very good, John, sorry.
I'm sure you've probably played on it if you play golf at all at different places. You've
Thankfully,
probably
I
played
don't.
Yeah.
You probably have know people that have played on golf courses that have been irrigated with gray water.
Yeah, so there, Brian said there are
That's
2
why
or
it's so
3
green,
options, so, you
Could be.
know.
Greener grass has never been greener with gray water. Or.
I would rather have it be gray than green water, but it's okay.
Yeah,
You're right.
So that's the ask. Staff recommends approval of the amendment for $10,000.
I knew that was coming.
Note on that, it said something about once they receive that technical assistance grant, we can start getting reimbursed through that. Is that only for the new cost? We can't get reimbursed for previous engineering?
I don't know what
I'm
it's
not
like.
sure of that yet. I'm not sure how the grant will work.
Oh.
I'm not sure how that is. If it's it's probably a reimbursement for sure, but I don't know if you can go back or not. I've not been involved too much in how this one looks.
I'll double check and let you guys know.
Yeah, because if we make it, you know, we contract for services after the grant was approved, is that part of it, or probably
Even,
not before?
even if we could, commissioners, we're still gonna have a shortfall in
Oh.
even the money that we're allocating,
Yeah.
so it's really 2 1/2 dozen the other, so. Even if we just
use, I'm sure we'll definitely use most of all of this grant in the actual design part.
Oh,
of the
yeah.
project.
Okay.
And then the entire project's gonna cost more than the large grant that we got, plus it's more than the 800,000 the commission committed, so. The residents, in my opinion, will still have a special assessment, a very small special assessment, I am glad to say.
Definitely a lot smaller than what it is.
Yeah,
Well,
But we've got some other options
Still have
that
a-
still yet to be determined too, right?
we've got USDA that's still out there.
Right.
Oh, you mean additional
Right.
funding?
And
Opportunities.
additional funding for 25 and
And we put
26.
appropriations in request in too, right?
For keys?
Yeah.
appropriation request
I think they have
for what?
25
Through
and
Moran's office?
26 money.
Mm,
Might be.
mhm. The thing is, everyone probably now knows what they got, and they'll look to put their resources to projects that don't have
Right.
assistance. I don't think anyone should feel bad about the community getting a very small special assessment.
Sort of.
I agree.
With everything we've been through that.
And they're, yeah, this is 24.
You're talking 300, 500,000 split between all of them as opposed to 4 million.
Yeah.
Still. Well, I would make an emotion to approve the amendment to owner engineer agreement and utilize, let's see, our ARPA funds to pay for the additional $10,000.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the amendment to owner engineering agreement and utilize ARPA funds to pay the additional $10,000. All in favor?
Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what John said. We used to give Sam, the previous Brian, a hard time, and even Leon Hobson did about all the time they were donating to this, because we had, you don't know, commissioners, how many staff meetings we've had on Keats. Mine, I'm not kidding, my entire career, and they were always there and attended, and Leon would thank him for his free work, you know, and so they have put in a tremendous amount of time, let alone all of the public meetings and commission meetings they've attended. They've been great partners on this project because they knew the need.
No, it's with you.
Brian always talks to me, he calls me back and explains everything, so we've investigated all this. It seemed to be a sort of sample observation.
I was telling me the third phone got to be last day afternoon.
Good.
We just need, I think the crane guy is supposed to come this week. Let's see how it's turning.
Okay, so let me know as soon as you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as much notice as I really.
Yeah, but they'd rather have it the first amendment, so.
Huh? The four spots along the street are out there now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let me know as soon as you know. Already got them. You know.
Yeah.
I just got.
Already got them to them. Yeah.
Oh, those were supposed to be for your office, so you probably need more than,
Oh, yeah, if our office needs some, yeah.
well, I mean.
I
for the
did.
list.
Makes an extra.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah,
list.
that's what I said. Take
Keep one in my wallet, one in the
We
desk.
just keep one in the truck.
Yeah, see who needs them, Elizabeth. They were just a pile on my desk one day. And I thought, oh, they must have gave me commissioners. So
Supposedly your office needs 6. I don't,
I think I had even more than that. So yeah, thanks.
Oh, here's the one, you know, put this in.
That's what I do. I keep one on my desk and in my wallet.
and then your office needs to. If you don't know, you have to listen. I'm just saying generality. I just.
Right.
People come out.
Which you were saying they want to put Snell Road, they put a fence. I had noticed that, but he said, oh, they put up a fence.
Thought that was a telling sign there of people are tired of it.
Yeah, they put a lot more kids down fixing that place.
No, it's turned out to be a really nice little house. And then, yeah, the guy that got it, he was in the construction storage site.
Yeah. Never.
Which I understand, if that's your business, it's your business, but there's a right place to do it, the wrong place to do it.
We've got another issue with property out there by the airport. I guess you guys are discussing it Friday.
Yeah, that bill passed. Can you take care of this?
Usual lightning speed.
Remember, the first.
So it's been July first.
You said something about that.
Take care of it first.
Absolutely. Everything will be done first. Everything.
Well, I was supposed to say we can't do anything until July 1st, but I didn't say it would be done.
I understand. There'll be plenty of preliminary. From staff.
I think the majority of people, to be honest with you, just want to see some kind of movement on things other than just stagnation.
Well, no, and quite frankly, that's one thing we were already planning is we're going to be very public about what we're doing. Because that has some value in itself.
Sure.
For sure.
Imagine we may hear from a certain legislator about one in our community he's been rather worked up
That's the
about.
one I've already had a conversation with.
That's what I kind of put two and two together and said one understood the
And
process.
a former legislator too.
Oh, really?
There's just.
You made a mistake with saying you didn't approve. Long. I didn't see it. I didn't do
Look
anything.
at it for sale. Some of them are occupied.
Can't believe someone would allow that.
It might be his. But it's.
Mhm.
It shows.
Okay.
There's
Go ahead, Megan.
owner.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. I am here this morning to present 2 separate agenda items. Those are our adult and juvenile services comp plans for approval to the submission to the Kansas Department of Corrections. So I'll start with our adult services plan.
As a reminder, we operate on the state fiscal year. So for 2025, that will begin on July 1st and run until June 30th. And our anticipated award from the Kansas Department of Corrections for adult services remains unchanged at $393,786.74. That breaks down to 3% that's used for agency operations, 3% for direct client services, and then 94% to personnel expenses. Our anticipated award from the behavioral health grant is unchanged as well, and that's $95,070, and 100% of that goes towards our funding for our care coordinator position. That's a combined total of $488,856.74. And on April 18th, the Joint Corrections Advisory Board reviewed and approved the adult services comp plan as well as the behavioral health grant applications. So we are here today to discuss the approval from the board.
I do have one suggestion. There's 79 pages here to review, and we did not get them till Tuesday afternoon. And it's like almost impossible to go through all that in a day when we've got other things to do. So I would hope in the future, even if it's piecemeal, we can get it a little sooner.
I absolutely appreciate that statement. What happened was we did have our meeting on Thursday with JCAP, and we attempted to get it in on Thursday before the 3 o'clock deadline, and we weren't able to. So we did get it submitted on Friday. I think that the approving parties probably didn't have a chance to get to it until later on and on Tuesday. So we were trying really hard to get it to you sooner.
Well, you could maybe start earlier.
I think what we could do is maybe ask our JCAP that for that particular meeting, meet earlier in the month.
Mhm.
So that way we can submit it to you for review sooner. So,
I think we'd all appreciate that.
absolutely.
Commissioners, would you also be open, when I had the manual, for example, I sent it out to you in an email before it really was on the agenda because that's what you had asked. Would you also be open to something like that when it's a document like that? I mean, obviously it's going to be on the agenda exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because you could add it to
Anything
Thursday.
that's that stack that big, have it a week ahead of time to have a chance to look at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me,
It was prepared so we could.
I was gonna say, I've looked at it 5 different times along the way, very little change with it, but yeah, I get the point, yeah.
And that is our main message with this, and because we have worked, and mostly these three, when I say we, but we've worked a lot on this, and it really unchanged. Everything in the state is unchanged. They've really done a lot to keep their budget really close to the same. Personnel is going to be the factor in that.
Yeah, I think that number has been the same for as long as I can remember. It's been a while.
time.
Yeah, so,
And
yeah.
that's not an easy feat from their part. I mean, they have to really, really manage everything down to the penny.
I would tell you that Brittany and Elizabeth were amazing and met with us multiple times and gave us feedback, and we just kept going back to the drawing board to figure it out. So, yeah.
And it is much clearer on all of our parts. We're all have a lot more transparency because of those hours spent. So we feel really good about this being their fiscal budget, but also matching our calendar budget.
Okay.
You need a motion.
Go ahead and move to approve the fiscal year 25 adult services comprehensive plan.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the fiscal year 2025 Adult Services Comprehensive Plan. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
I keep signing the 24th for some reason. I guess it probably doesn't matter. It's kind of like consistency there. 24, 24. That's my OCCD there. Thank you. Okay, I'm on to the next one.
Okay, our second agenda item is to discuss the juvenile services comp plan. Our anticipated award from KDOC for juvenile services is also unchanged at $357,692.29. 3% of that goes to our agency operations, with 1% to client services, and then 96% to personnel expenses. And again, on April 18th, our Joint Corrections Advisory Board did meet and review and approve our juvenile comp services.
See, and I realize you're have all of the 2 weeks experience or whatever, but it says has an increase in 11 years. So they tried, I don't know, whatever group you belong to, tried to beat. I mean, legislators have so much money they can't decide what to do with it. Not funding something that they're required, that they should be required.
We had a pretty comprehensive discussion on these two subjects at the beginning of 21, as a matter of fact, and I can't remember your lobbyist's name.
Stuart Little.
We had a meeting just right here on that subject, so it's been tried. Yeah. Yeah.
I bet he's never heard that.
I think this is something Shelley was very active in.
She was.
She put it in her reports. She went regularly, they spoke regularly.
We had a meeting with our district, Gary County is at the 8th district.
Yes.
Members of their 8th district, along with then State Senator Tom Hawk and Senator Longbunny from over there. And that was January or February 20. It was still cold outside. That's all I remember. So.
And Shelley served as the president, I believe, for the Kansas Community Corrections Association. So she worked really closely with Stuart Little and advocating for something other than flat funding.
Oh, and I guess I should probably, Gary County Commissioner Trish Giordano too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't remember the numbers, but there were, I mean, they didn't necessarily change their budget, but they gave like randomly in the middle of their fiscal year, gave a little extra in 23 and talked about it in 22. So I mean, it's on their radar, but it's not outside.
Yeah, but it was only like $150,000. So it only broke down to like 10 grand per district. I mean,
I know.
yeah, it's an increase, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, and it's also,
Come on.
it'd be nicer if it was ahead of time as part of the budget and you could really, figure
Well,
out.
we know for a fact, and we were just talking about it a little while ago, juvenile and childcare type of services right now are the one side of the judicial side that's increasing substantially. So
Yes.
it's not getting easier.
They had the money, but they had to spend it on the presidential preference primary.
Exactly.
Valuable.
Could have had $5 million, but we did that
This
instead.
would have had more impact.
It does make the headlines.
Sorry.
It will when it goes terribly wrong.
Yeah, well.
That's the problem with it. And that's nobody's fault here.
Our news travels fast.
Okay. Well, I would make a motion to approve the 2025 Juvenile Services Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
The motion says grant. Does that make a
I
difference?
couldn't find the motion.
Plan or grant?
There.
It says plan grant, says both on the front. Just plan grant.
Okay.
You seconded?
Yeah.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded, I should say, to approve the fiscal year 2025 Juvenile Services Comprehensive Plan. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
So
I know, they're big, but there's only 2 signatures on there. So,
That's not bad.
from the state.
Couldn't
sheet,
find
it's,
the motion.
refreshing.
Commissioners, we really appreciate your support on this. It's been a lot, even though it's only been 2 weeks. It's been, Shelley worked on this tirelessly afterwards. Jesse's worked on it for years. But it's a really difficult process and a big deal for your department.
Yes. Spring rain cannot be wet.
Yeah, jump right in.
I have a feeling there's going to be more water coming through. I just don't know yet.
Thank you. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Jesse. Next, Commissioner, you have Elizabeth Ward at 10:05.
Do you have a few minutes before we start?
Stirring up trouble. It's Cora's not here.
He's the instigator.
Well, it's not me or John.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't judge them. That's the. Right.
Parents really did it on yard work.
That's nice. You can sit and watch TV. Said you're out there calling it out today.
Yeah, I was gonna put in some plants next to the foundation, which I'd never done before.
Right.
I came in there and it's solid.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't, so we're kind of get all the topsoil, compost. So carrying all that, I mean, put some sand in there to mix all of this stuff. By carrying all this stuff around. So I'm still. It's good, good work.
Once you drink it, like 60 and one. Where did all there's no.
2 more sessions. And then we're gonna graduate.
You get a graduation plaque?
Well, they said they have a special T-shirt for
Oh,
me.
good.
Oh, PTA, I'll have 2 more sessions.
Oh,
Then they graduate you out of their class.
where you going? You're going at ortho, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they've been really good.
Who's your impersonator?
All of a sudden, Judy's gonna be like that.
Making do.
I went in.
She's been there for some years.
And my daughter Michaela did one of her sessions through school there.
Oh,
Of course, I know Chad really well, and she got to know them all, and she knows Michelle really well, the other head PT person there. And
It's not me, it's Michelle. It's Michelle.
And she's told him, she says, okay, I come back to town, I got a job here. And I said, yep.
They were training a new girl yesterday. Okay, I said, everything done here is in 3s and 30s.
Mhm.
3 sets, 30 seconds. Everything 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Except you get somebody in one body and kind of glare at it.
K-State there one day and.
Yeah.
Money, probably, it. This makes it, I don't know why, Marshall said this for many people, just clarity.
No, at church.
Mine gets very sore. Oh, I get stiff. Because I have to do my stuff. Which I don't get done before.
They try to hire you, but they're very.
Very. Exactly work on there.
Now, right, and hurting. Because I've been overworking this too.
Yeah, that little bitty bending over stuff bothered my back more than I can lift heavy stuff all day long, but the little stuff just bending over nonstop picks it. Kills my lower back.
Even if you've been with your knees.
Mhm.
It's still.
Yeah, I'm just. Doing this.
It's gonna be way down there, Clancy.
I was just thinking. Bill.
Yeah.
I may not.
Yeah.
Page 127, down in there.
Feel free to take a nap while I do this.
Actually, if you minimize that thing up there, you can get the scroll bar on the side and just scroll down really quick, minimize that side screen.
Okay.
Farther right, farther, up, farther. See the minus sign?
Getting warmer?
You see the minus sign? Maybe look at your screen, maybe.
Just now.
The screen.
Wait.
There you go.
Now you can do a little.
You see, now you see why he's co-IT director.
That's right.
And just scroll all the way to the bottom of what I.
That part I know. No. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
That would be too easy.
You're good, we're good to start, Elizabeth, so we go.
You're better off doing this yourself.
Okay.
Oh, boy, you got Clancy trying to set you up there.
Here we go.
I think still-
That's right.
I think there's still more.
You gotta zoom out a little bit.
That's the way it is.
I think that's part of it.
I make a motion, Clancy is not allowed to touch the computer.
Oh, wow.
I like
Yeah,
that.
that's part of the
I
correct.
like that.
Oh, so then no car in front of it. Okay, well, yeah.
No, that's,
No, that's still part of Megan's application. You have to keep going.
he's not far enough. He's a
Oh,
god.
that's it.
But this is us.
And nobody thought to stop him?
Well, that is.
There's more.
Oh, man.
That was what
I
was
promise.
submitted.
No, we were just sitting here.
I know.
The entire thing.
I think everybody has to take responsibility for this now.
I
This is-
know what's going on.
Very-
Yeah.
Hi, good morning.
Lack of direction here is scary.
I got confused.
Well, no, I don't.
So what if it's we're talking about the junior stuff?
Okay, so good morning, Commissioners. Elizabeth Ward, Human Resources. Just back from 3 days of personal leave, and obviously.
If you couldn't tell.
Can't tell. Yeah, it wasn't relaxing enough. I am here to hopefully present the final version of the employee policy manual. We've spent a lot of time discussing the updates. We've spent over a year really creating the update and then, of course, I think 5 or 6 weeks discussing it, or 5 or 6 sessions discussing it here. You all have a copy of it. There's a copy attached. There are no updates to what each section that was approved. So if there's errors or, something is amiss, then that, we can work from there. But if you have any questions, I would love to discuss that.
I, for one, am done discussing it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, should we start discussing?
Athletic shoes.
Timely.
We can just keep opening the can of worms. It gets bigger and bigger. Yeah. John enjoyed that conversation particularly, so. As did the rest of us, John, honestly.
We had a really in-depth conversation about the Wizard of Oz on this. The entire movie was over shoes.
Well, we're in the right state for that.
And it brought me back to this conversation. I ended up in the same spot, not wanting to discuss it.
Those were
And
not.
it ruined a perfectly good movie about Kansas City too.
They were not, but they did make noise, Nancy, which I believe you mentioned as a criteria.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, those shoes in person are actually as sparkly as they are in the movie.
Really?
Mhm. Seen them at the Hard Rock Cafe in New York City.
The original shoes.
The original shoes.
Used to have
What
one.
are they doing in New York City?
They move stuff around.
Hard Rock just owns them and.
Yeah, they just move them around from cafe to cafe, I guess. I don't know why they chose that one. But yeah, as far as the employee manual, I don't have anything else to add at this point in time. Yeah.
I agree.
I guess I will say, just on the outset, thanks for everybody's work on that. I'm sure it was more difficult than even our conversations were in regards to it, so
Not effort.
it should serve us well. I might make a suggestion of not waiting 12 years to make the next set of updates. If there's
More, let's see how.
anything that comes from this discussion, let's keep looking at and evaluating along the way, and not let it stack up.
I think as some things change, we will know, and instead of necessarily just doing a resolution, a standalone, we'll then incorporate that each year and have it moved.
Yeah.
And then if there are major issues, we can also.
Just have one thing too. I mean, assuming if you approve it today, then I will bring you a resolution at a later meeting that adopts it formally as of the date that you approve it. So it will be, it's just as valid without that, but it's better to create a good public record.
Sure.
Of the adoption.
Thank you.
So you'll be, just so I'm tracking on that, that would backtrack to today.
Oh, yeah, it'd be retroactive.
Okay.
You can do that.
Okay.
There's nothing about it. Because your adoption today, if I had not done the resolution, would still be an adoption of the manual. if that's what you do.
Okay.
I'd move to approve the Raleigh County policy manual as presented.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Riley County Policy Manual as presented. All in favor?
Thank you very much, Commissioners. Just so that you're aware of the next steps, we will be putting out by Paylocity, the manual itself and the just electronic signature that you have read, each employee has read and understands and has an opportunity to ask questions. So that will go out and it will stay on the record in Paylocity, but Michelle has it built and I'm testing it today. So
Is the hard copy we have currently the
that's it. Yeah,
Okay.
the hard copy you have is it. And then, yeah, we'll discuss, there might be some need for some department heads and things to have hard copy, but
And then we got one down.
no, they got multiple bound ones, but the very last one has, and I think it has the effective data.
Happy with a series of them.
Yeah.
She made a pretty large assumption there, didn't she? That today was the day.
Well, I mean, obviously I can change it, but I didn't want you to be confused, so.
It's probably on its own page, so it can be changed.
Yeah.
Yanked out.
Pull it
Thank
back, and drop back in the middle of the budget section. So
Or just white it out, stick
That
something
would
back.
frustrate you.
Right.
Thank you.
Next commissioner, do you have bid opening at 10:30, 10:20, Alvin Torres?
Okay. If it's ready at that time, are you okay with approving such a resolution at the small cities meeting?
Yes.
Are we okay doing it that way? All right.
Yeah, please
add something to that meeting and make it just a tad bit longer to make it worthwhile.
No,
No, I didn't say that. What? A little longer than a half an hour.
Hey, turn back.
Yeah.
Your turn, but thanks, you know. Good, good. Thank
Okay, 5 minutes. I've already got. Thank you.
Say the mind. Is that I'll just make that fun.
Yes.
You don't work.
It's not, it's kind of close to my.
I know that's what you were gonna do on Tuesday when I wasn't here. Oh, you really feel, John.
But no.
Send the bike out much?
Oh, yeah.
What's the deal? You getting old? It is amazing kind of the transition as we do get older. I've seen several older guys, a little older than us, that are made the switch to the trike.
Oh, that's in our future. Not yet.
Mhm.
Just finding the time.
Seen a guy, I didn't recognize the brand. I wish I'd remembered so I could have told you, but on the trailer, it must have been a VIN inspection. It was a unique, it was a short brand name. It was on the gas tank of the motorcycle. It painted a really unique kind of burnt orange, but it had the sidecar on it. And it didn't look real old, you know? It was pretty cool looking. And that was just yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
That's a Facebook thing and it's not something I'm gonna be able to fix. So.
It takes them right there.
Okay,
So.
That'll work.
These are the issues.
They changed all their,
It was just.
they changed their platform on Meta to incorporate more of CP chat and AI, and that's probably a change that came with it, probably.
It's a lot of weird things going on.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. It's sprinkling, having estimates on hold out there.
That's what it was. Oh, when I checked, it was Ural. URAL. I just Googled motorcycle brand with sidecar, and that's exactly what it was. That's the first one that came up. I'd never heard of it. Must be like their specialty.
Did you find it at home?
Quite a bit of,
And if you didn't, you did it.
quite a bit of transfer going back and forth to basketball, huh?
Yeah. That's you know,
I can't get used to this.
he's talking, national champion. It's just gonna be tough to do until
Well,
they get
I was
some of that
thinking about it, in general,
You don't know who you have from one day to the next.
Calipari's been doing the same thing for over a decade, basically getting a team, team leaves, basically gets drafted and then it's gone and you're getting a whole new team. He's been doing it for a decade and he's found success with it. Not
Not enough.
yeah, I was gonna say not enough success for Kentucky, but success enough, but you can find ways to make it work, but geez, I mean, it's just,
But
you're
like,
used to having a team there and then it's gone and then
well, like
it's,
this year, last year's Connecticut team had been together
yeah.
several years, and then that
And I think
San Diego
because-
State, who was
Yeah.
all seniors or so, if you can keep a team together,
Or it was like a couple years ago during COVID, that Dayton team that was together, they were all 5-year seniors and
Mhm.
yeah.
had they probably played the tournament that year, they would have been a Final Four contender for sure. And then they just kind of boom, Michigan, another, that first year under Juwan Howard,
You don't have to be
they were a senior laden
doing
team
what you
too.
do. It
And
always, it works.
they were, I think, a lead 8 team and then he's been able to do nothing and now he's
I
still.
don't think so.
Yeah, I just don't know how you're gonna be able to do it
Yeah.
at a school our size
Yeah.
that doesn't have
Got like
that
60 years.
NIL resources that Kentucky
The
does,
stack
All right.
of horse there.
you
He
know?
does have an identical twin brother,
Saw that.
which is actually interesting.
Yeah.
Which one am I dealing with?
They look in the pictures, they look.
I gotta think Kaluma's just testing the waters.
So,
I
always wanted to get-
I don't.
Yeah.
If, see how they can make.
I'm just not seeing it either. But he's got, how many, he's a junior this year, right? So he's got one more year.
Good, that one.
So maybe he's just testing it to see what he needs to do and improve and work on, which I don't fault him. You got two pretty good guys coming in, I guess, over the weekend to.
Yeah, geez, I tell you. I just don't, it takes a year to get everyone to work together. And by that time, then some of them are leaving.
Half
At least some of the confusion, we're gonna have CJ and RJ Jones.
I know.
But now
We moved up, I told everybody, we just moved up the alphabet.
we did
That's all
change
we
the
know.
alphabet on those.
Went from R to C, maybe that works, I don't know.
Not a fan.
Depending on who we land to replace everybody, so far, it looks like we're progressing at least. We got the kid coming from Oklahoma, it's supposed to be good, so we're progressing, but. KU lost its top recruit apparently too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and once the third best point guard that they recruited, now one's out.
Oh, yeah. Football, John Edwards is out again.
I know, I saw.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
I know Avery Johnson pushing for him hard to come back, but I don't see it working. If he does, that's fine. I'm not against it, but I just, with Giddens and the other kid behind him, I don't see it being.
He initially said he was coming to PHP 2 years ago, and then you got interest Notre Dame, so he decommitted from us and committed to Notre Dame. And then He'd be coming from Midland to Colorado.
It's
They
like,
barely played there 1 year. We played a bunch the first half of the season.
Yeah, and then nothing.
Moved away.
And there's been a just mass exodus of players from Colorado, so.
ready, commissioners?
Yep. So we've got a bid opening here for, looks like asphalt seal oil. Fun stuff, but necessary. So first one I've got here, looks like it's from Coastal Energy Corporation in Willow Springs, Missouri. Where's Willow Springs, Missouri, John? You're a Missouri guy.
Not sure, but I imagine it's close to Kansas City.
Okay, I guess that would make sense. Guess you're on the other side of the state, so I'll give you credit for that.
I'm on the right side of the track.
That's debatable. Okay, I kind of opened this up. So, yeah, forgive me for that. Not starting this off very well. Okay, so we got a couple of different lists here. So let's start off with the CRS-1 HP charge, which looks like that's going to be $2.80 per gallon. The merge charge looks like $100 even after 2 hours. Pump charge is $125, excuse me, per load. And there's a return charge of $1,550 per load. Send in the original paperclip with that too.
First, there from Coastal Energy Corporation. CRS 1 HP price $2.80 per gallon. Demurrage charge $100 per hour after 2 hours. Pump charge $125 per hour per load. And return load charge $1,550 per load.
So on this, we just order it as we need it, is that, and it'll be $2, it'll be these prices for, is there a maximum time on that?
No, it'll be good until we get done stealing.
Until you
We
get
try to
done.
do that though, about the middle of July.
Okay, so it's as needed, then it's not like a total amount.
Yeah, well, we know how many gallons it's gonna take to do what we're gonna do this year.
Okay.
Yeah. You pretty much do that all throughout the summer and.
No, it's like about a 2 week period, week and a half, it's the seal.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's kind of, if we get started along the weather, it looks like we can get through it pretty quick.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, because this didn't have a total amount, so I didn't know. That,
All right, so the next one I have here is from Vance Brothers. That's in Kansas City, Missouri. On the right side of the Missouri tracks. I just say that because they've been winning a lot of championships on this side of the tracks in the last decade and just throwing it out there.
Well, it's kind of hard for St. Louis to win a football championship when they only have a team.
But they have here in the last decade for a while. They should have took advantage of it.
Excuses.
It's kind of funny. They moved and suddenly won a championship, though. I mean,
Yeah, that was.
I know I kind of turned the knife on that one, didn't I?
That was a sneaky.
It was. I agree. Okay, for Vance Brothers, CRS -H1 HP is $2.67 per gallon. It's showing for the demurrage charge of $70 per 2 hours.
For 2 hours or
for 2 hours. After 2 hours, sorry.
$70 an hour after 2 hours?
After 2 hours, my bad. Pump charge is listed at $75. And a return load charge of $605 per load. Lots of stuff there, but that's the rest of it.
It's Vance Brothers in Kansas City, Missouri. The CRS one HP oil price, $2.67 per gallon. The merge charge is $70 an hour after 2 hours. Pump charge of $75 per load. And a return load charge of $605 per load.
And the last and final one I have is from Ergon Asphalt Emulsions out of Solomon, Kansas. Goes to save on a lot of trees there. Okay, on the CRS dash one HP, I show $2.75. Showing $100 per hour after 2 hours. Pump charge of $100 even. And a return load charge of $550.
Is that total or per load? This is $550.
Per load. Per load.
Per load. But the $100 was even. It wasn't
That's
per load.
It also says if requested. I don't know.
Because he didn't say that. So I just. So they're all per load, right?
Yep.
Okay.
This price from Ergon Asphalt. CRS one HP oil price, $2.75 per gallon. Merge charge, $100 per hour after 2. Pump charge, $100 per load, and a return load charge of $550 per load. Little Springs is halfway between Springfield and Buffalo.
Oh, so it found it's out. Yeah, that's west side. That's not that far from where we were last week.
Yeah, it is about pretty.
Postal is in south central Missouri.
South Central. Well, I would make a motion that we return the bids to staff for their recommendation.
A second.
It moved and seconded to return these bids to staff for the analysis and recommendation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's the bid opening for that. And that was also the last agenda item for this morning, kind of a short meeting. That's okay, because we're gonna have a bunch of long meetings here coming here pretty quick, yes. So I don't have anything else this morning. Kind of a long week.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, I don't have anything else.
I move to adjourn the April 25th meeting with the Raleigh County Commissioners.
I would second that.
It moved and seconded to adjourn the April 25th meeting of the Riley County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.